Hello. All right. So this is how I break the ice, not for you, but for me. Like, this is my first time doing anything like this. So, just got to get that out there. Yay! So this is scary for me, but sitting in 34-degree water like that is not. So, you know, we all have our... So yeah, it's funny, I wrote that up, and as Jeff's reading that, I was like, oh, that's me. Oh yeah, it's like, hearing about my life the last 15-ish months is still new for me. It's like, you know, I wrote that, and then I hear it explained, and it's kind of surreal. It's kind of just all kind of unfolding in my life. I'm kind of gauging the group a little bit, and trying to understand the group. I've come to one of these. I've had my eye on Oasis for a while, and so I'm just jumping right in, and now I'm speaking. But yeah, I try to fill it out of how open I am, or I'm going to be about things, and I'm just going to be open. So I've had my faith transition. I don't even want to say out of Mormonism, but in some ways out, and trying to navigate that still. And I kind of correlate it with the cold, so we'll just keep it at the 15-month, since that's it's not an even number, but it's a nice number. And that's kind of when it started, in some ways. The cold was a partnership in my life through my faith transition, and still is. Grew up here in Happy Valley for the most part. All things Mormon up until 15 months ago, in most ways. So, prefacing that, and I don't like to say that I'm a master of anything. I'm just learning and expanding and growing, and I'm sure I have so much to learn from you. And so, if it works out, I'll kind of play with it, but I'd rather it not be like a Q&A at the end. I would love to have questions and comments during this. Are you guys open to that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Because, you have a thought and then it leaves and whatnot. I like to have more of a discussion feel than I'm up here doing all the speaking. I know we have some maybe moderate to, all levels of Hoffers in the audience. That's kind of what we call ourselves. Yes. And so I'm going to rely on you a little bit and your experience, because I think that will help. Because it's not just me. Even though I'm cool and good and I have a lot of experience, but it's fun to have the group dynamic. Okay. So kind of like I was saying, the cold was and is a game changer for me. It allows me/us. I'm speaking to those that already kind of get it a little bit, and to those that might get it and are open to it. It helps in so many ways. So I think in a lot of ways for me, I'm not a big researcher or reader or scientist where I gotta go out and I gotta understand it all before I do it. I usually just do it, and then I understand it later. And that's kind of how it was for me. Like, literally my journey was, I watched a YouTube video of this guy and girl who took cold showers for 30 days and documented it and made a YouTube video out of it. And I was fascinated by that. And then another friend of mine, we were more like acquaintances, not super close. He started to do these challenges at the beginning of the year. So not this last January, so January 2018, he's doing these 5-day challenges. And on the third week was the cold shower challenge. And the first 2 challenges, I'm like, diet, exercise, then they're done that, working on that. Cold showers, I just watched a video on that, and now he's doing this. I gotta try this. So I just started doing it. I didn't know almost anything about it. I just started doing it, and it made sense to me. I can visualize in our older house looking out of the shower and I'm watching my kids, and my 6-year-old's like listening to me scream, and I'm like, ah, cold shower! So we'll get the visual there and that, and I'd do it, you know. They were 2-3 minutes at the beginning, fairly short. I just started doing it, and I committed to myself that I'm going to do this for 5 days, and then 5 days was done, and like that wasn't enough, and then I committed to a month, did a month, and like and I said to myself, I wasn't even telling anybody about this really. I mean, I think I was talking a little bit about it, but it was mostly just to myself. I was like, I'm going to do this till I'm used to it. 2-3 months into it, you never get used to this. It is always uncomfortable, and so 15 months later, I'm mostly used to it. I say mostly. There's almost always one little thought where it's like, okay, don't do this, but I usually lasts for like a second, 2 seconds, and keep that thought. I just put that thought away. Yes. Yes.
People do it.
Why do people do it? I think that answer to that is different for everybody, because a lot of people that I talk to are very scientific about it, and they've researched the Wim Hof method, they go to the Wim Hof method events, which I haven't yet. It's kind of just become a part of my life, and I love what the Wim Hof method is doing. So I'm not going to get into what Wim Hof has done and the method a ton, because this is my story and this is my life, and you guys, anyone can do that if they want to, because there's so much out there, and you can study it and you can learn about it. So that question is different for everybody, I think. For me, it allowed me to do uncomfortable shit on purpose that I chose to do. So since you asked, and since my mind's going there, as far as our children go, we've had some struggles with our children. So our first child was born premature at 24 weeks. It was 1 pound 3 ounces. In the NICU, down the street, wherever that hospital is, and for 4 months. So hard. I didn't choose that. Is there so much meaning in that? Yes. But in that moment, did I stress? Did I worry? Did I get through that experience as good as I could have? No. And I have compassion for myself and our situation at that time. But now with this tool on my side, like I know that I can do uncomfortable stuff, and that is not my main message, that you need cold therapy, that you need cold showers. I strongly suggest it if you're not practicing it. But my new message that I'm stepping into and I'm evolving, perhaps in a monetized way, perhaps for my career, is that I can do challenging things in my life that are purposeful on purpose, instead of waiting for them to happen. And to make it more personal and get to know me a little bit, going on with our children, our second child had a brain defect in the womb, and we delivered our little baby Willa, is her name, at 17 weeks. She passed away. There's a lot of hope for any child past like 23 weeks now, and so whether you know about that or not, 17 weeks there's just no hope. So that was so hard on us, so hard on me, so hard on our marriage, so hard in a lot of ways. Was not prepared for that, and those are the kind of things we can't really choose to experience. But a cold shower, getting in a cold river, you can choose that, and you can learn from it. Thanks for your question. So here's a little glimpse, if you can see this, of some activities. This is a recent event. There's Brandon. We're going to pick up Brandon. He's in the back. He's a fellow hopper. There's me and him diving into Provo River. That's at the same event, walking back. This is, I put this one in here because this is a social gathering, nothing to do with me. I'm in there with the Hassard friend right there. But this happens at the first of the year, every year down in Salem Ponds, just to celebrate the new year. So a lot of people do this, yeah, I'll get to you in a sec. A lot of people do this just for fun. You know, if you remember you're a child, or maybe you do it once in a while, you get in cold water once in a while because it's exciting, it's new. And I was thinking about this yesterday, like, we did that as a child or as a teenager, and we were so pure at that time, and so curious, and exploring, and very few limits, right? Sometimes to a default, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But where does that go? I think a lot of times in our Western society, maybe it's not just in the West, but a lot of times that goes away, and we gotta get to schooling, we gotta get to our job, we gotta get to our family and do all that stuff. And there's beauty in all that, but I think a lot of that creativity and exploration we put away, and this allows you to connect to that.
So I'm not sure if I missed this, but I don't exactly know what a hoffer is. I can guess based on context, but is that the name of the person?
I think it's okay that you don't get it. I may be speaking to those that do get it. Hoffer is the Wim Hof method, so it's taking the Hof name and making it into hoffer, and you're a cold enthusiast or exploring the cold a little bit. Yeah, no, thank you. So Wim Hof is a dude from Norway, I believe, somewhere over there in the cold countries, and he started this whole method of making it a practice. And people were doing it before he did that, but yeah.
This question may be out of sequence, but
it's okay.
How do you prevent hypothermia from setting in?
Yeah, I think that's an advanced question. There are some risks in it, and I'm learning about that as I go, and I'm cautious about how I speak about it and advertise because I'm not certified. I've taken some of his courses and paid for some of the courses. So the simple answer to that is baby steps. Of not going to Iceland, or which one's colder next year? Greenland, right? Not going to Greenland and jumping in the water and staying in for 5 minutes. It's baby steps and taking a 10-second cold shower and building up to a minute and building up to 10 minutes. And you know, your showers, depending on our environment around here, you know, they get down to like 57 degrees or something. Right now they're probably like low to mid 60s. And you're not gonna, there's no risk in that. Or almost no risk. I don't want to say, I mean, huge claims like that, but almost no risk in taking a cold shower as far as, you know, when you're getting in the river or a lake around here, there's going to be a lot of risks if you're doing it in the winter. So if you're thinking about this and want to, we'll get to some of the opportunities you can go and do it with me and in our group. Right now's the best time getting into winter because the water always stays cold, it's snow on up, and you have the warm air temperature on your side as you get out of water. So that's the short answer of that. Yes. In the back. Right here. Rhett, what's up?
So I was wondering if you could articulate for me, just from my understanding, sort of the emotional experience, thrill, appeal, cold. So what I'm trying to think about is like thresholds. Like if the drive is to, you know, stand over about that, exceed your threshold or push your thresholds, right?
Sure.
To sort of thrill that versus like, you know, there's like a strain of MRA, right? Kids who use cold showers, sort of what we think of, especially about cold showers, right?
Yeah.
No masturbation. So it's sort of like a sexual component to that. That's not, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, why not look at that too?
Yeah, so there's a lot I could say to answer that. We're friends, so we can get into that more personally. To get to some of the flow. I will answer the emotional side though. I like that you brought up the emotion. I think that I connect to the emotional and the mental side of this more than anything. I think there are tons of physical benefits. You just Google physical benefits of cold exposure, cold therapy, or the Wim Hof method, and you'll get pages and pages. But for me, the emotional side of it has been huge. I remember so I'll be a little vulnerable here, like I'm still in my faith transition because my wife is still very LDS. And I remember a few months ago, Sundays just getting really hard. And Sundays just like building up, not even dread of potentially going to church, but just that it's Sunday and that I want to go out and get in cold water and explore this new life and these new paradigms. And when it was cold a few months back, it'd be like 9, 10 in the morning, not a great morning start in some ways, and I need to reset. I need to make sure that this day is okay, and I go I was trying to find a picture, a good one of me in my horse trough. So I have a horse trough in my backyard, and it freezes over, and I go and I get in it. And it sounds so simple, right, how I say it, but, but that's what I do. I just, hey, babe, I'm going to get in my trough, and I just drop everything, I go get it, and it's just like, boom, reset. Emotional, mental clarity for the rest of the day, for maybe the rest of the week, depending on when I get to do it next.
Well, thank you, Brandon.
Yeah. Okay. Brandon. Oh, yes. Here, Brandon.
My question was, what you just said to Google, but my question was, are there health benefits to being Google?
Yeah, and like she said over here, like I think that the benefits become whatever you need in your life. If you need the physical benefits of it, you have a low immune system. Maybe you're worried about your weight. So many physical benefits that can come from it. It's good for your skin, it's good for your hair, it's good for your immune system, helps you lose weight, you burn a lot of calories in the cold. Lots of different things on the physical side. Again, I'm not the expert on that. I feel like in a lot of ways I'm the expert on the getting through a tough situation like a faith crisis, right? Whatever it might be in your life, this helps on that emotional and mental side of having this strength and courage of doing hard things, whatever that means in your life. And that's different for all of us. So let's go to Brandon, and then we'll maybe put questions on hold for a minute so we can get a little bit more to the direction.
Just to share just a little bit of experience on the emotional side as well. Sometimes when feeling really down or just having a hard time with doing the same to reset, it's awesome to just feel like you have had a win that day. Like you just accomplished something great, you had a win, and you just couldn't stop. So that's one of the things I really like about it, as well as the meditation that we do before. It's really calming, and it's just a chance to connect with Mother Earth in kind of a crazy way. And so it really is a cool experience in that way. As well as I do a lot of running, and it's an incredible recovery. It helps drain the lactic acid from the muscles. It also helps me connect with my own adrenaline levels, as well as it boosts my testosterone all around helping me running. So yeah, it's a good experience.
Absolutely. So you're starting to talk a little bit about the breathing and the meditation. For myself, I wouldn't label it as meditation. I would label it as advertised on Facebook group, but it's breathwork. Breathwork that is involved, and it is meditative. So that's what this 3 minutes stands for. I gave the breathing my all for like 2 or 3 months last year, and if some of you or all of you ideally are open to it, we're going to do the breathing in just a minute. Okay? And the breathing, I think not anyone, but most people can do. It's not super scary, it's different, but it's not stepping into cold water. And it is very meditative and helpful to be centered, and depending on how long you do it. You can do it for a long time, and the longer you do it, the more euphoric it feels. So I got up to holding my breath, and you'll know what that means in a minute, of holding my breath on the exhale. So lungs body mostly empty of air on the exhale for 3 minutes. If I were to give it my all right now, I could maybe get to 2 minutes. But this was like a lot of work and doing this every day. Yeah.
So when you say Wim Hof method, are you talking just about the cold water or the cold water and breath? Are they part of the
So
same?
yeah, it's broken down into 3 elements. And if you want to explore the Wim Hof method, Google it. He has a great app that walks you through the method. The 3 components are breathwork, the cold, and then mind power. I don't know how he puts it, but mind strength, and it's just like mind over matter principle. So those are his 3 pillars. And so they all coincide, or you can use some of them separately, depending on what your intentions are. Okay, so we're going to breathe now, and I'm going to teach you the Wim Hof method breathing. So, I really should put the Wim Hof method / Colby breathing, because, I kind of teach it a little bit differently, and it's how I learned, and it's how I teach it now. So, Brandon and I were kind of adhering to the chemicals that are released during this practice. As you pursue it, and as you get into it more, you feel euphoric. You do get high on your own supply. Drugs and chemicals and substances are corresponding with already existing chemicals, right? If you know what I'm saying. But DMT is an existing drug in your body. Oxytocin, adrenaline, serotonin, these pleasure chemicals that are awesome happen when you do this breathing. They are being triggered, and it's an amazing thing. So I'm trying to decide to describe it more now before we do it, or describe more after, and I think we're going to do it after, because you'll just be like, well, yeah, it works. Can I pick on you, Steve? So Steve did this for the first time yesterday. He came out to an event, and any thoughts? What in relation to breathing before we do it?
I found we breathe every day, but it rejuvenates the body, because you're getting all this oxygen in your body. And, I'll say the wrong button.
You're good. Yeah.
But I found
good.
it relaxing and helpful. So before I took the plunge.
Yep. So you can, thank you. You can do the breathing. There are some days where I don't shower. I don't know if I'm the only one, but if I don't need to shower, sometimes I'll just do the breathing to start my day off right, or kind of like how Rhett asked and I answered. It's a reset. The breathing can be just as much of a reset and a charge to do whatever, to get through something, when you're struggling or whatever. So let's do the breathing. I'm gonna walk you through it kind of quickly, so if you don't fully grasp it, get to know me better, come to an event, Google it, explore it on your own. But just for time's sake, I'm gonna explain it fairly basically. So the first step is to take a deep breath in. So practice that. Just breathe in as much air as your body and lungs are capable of. And that's kind of different if you're not used to that. So practice that a couple times. Okay, so that's the inhale. So now let's focus on the exhale. The exhale is not a full exhale like the inhale is a full. It's more just you're just letting the lungs and the body collapse. So practice that. I like to do that as a percentage. It's about 60-80% air released. Not everything, but most of it. So just let the lungs collapse after your deep breath. Okay, so those are the first 2 steps. Next step is we're going to do that for 30 times. So I will count for you, so you can just focus on getting that down. And then, this is the interesting, kind of difficult new part. You're going to hold your breath after doing that for 30 reps. You're going to hold that breath on the exhale. So that's why I was talking about earlier. You know, I held my breath up to 3 minutes. You can hold your breath longer and longer the more you do this. So what's happening during this is your body's becoming more oxygenated. It's becoming less alkaline, so less acid in your body because there's so much oxygen in your body and in your brain. So that's what's happening. So then we're going to hold our breath as long as you can. Please don't pass out on me. Just know your limits. Don't be crazy, but still push yourself. And we'll probably just do it twice. The first time will be kind of a practice, and then I'll set you free, and you can do it on your own. For those that have already done it, you know, and you can start right now if you want it. But yeah, things really start to take off when you make time to do this 3 or 4 times. It becomes very euphoric and exciting. Okay, so the last step after you've held your breath is to wrap up the cycle is after you need that breath and you're ready to breathe, take a deep breath in and hold that for 10 to 15 seconds. And then you're done. That's a cycle. Okay? And then we repeat it. Any questions? I'll walk you through the first round. If you forget, it's okay. Yes?
Should we sit on the floor?
If you want to change, yeah, absolutely. You can sit on the floor, you can lay down.
Breath hold. Some people can get lightheaded, and so if you're sitting up high,
Yeah.
you don't want to ever get in the water.
Absolutely.
That's
Yep.
So,
Yep. Don't ever do this in water.
So that first time you do it, holding it down on the exhale, after exhaling, or after inhaling?
Yeah, you're holding your breath after you've exhaled. Yep. Great question. Sometimes people get that mixed up. You're used to holding your breath on the inhale or holding your breath on the exhale. Josh.
I was just going to comment, interestingly enough, even though you have more oxygen available when you inhale than your lungs are full, you can generally hold your breath longer when you exhale because your body can't actually detect oxygen levels. It detects how much of that has been turned into CO2 in your lungs. So if your lungs are empty, then it doesn't detect carbon dioxide. It doesn't feel as desperate to breathe in.
Excellent point, Josh. Thank you. Yeah, Josh has a little taste of this. He's done it. And so, yeah, I'm glad you brought up the CO2. Because, yeah, what we're doing is we're getting less CO2 in our body and more oxygen.
and the exhale isn't necessarily a full exhale. It's just releasing.
Correct.
Maybe a half, because
Yeah.
if you release it all out, then you have the urge to suck back in.
Yeah.
So you just want to neutralize kind of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, if you were to breathe out all of your air, you're not going to be able to hold your breath as long, and it won't have as much purpose. So great point, thank you. Okay, well, let's practice, let's do it. Okay, let's go, fully in. Let it go. In and out. Remember, as much air in as possible, about 75% out. You can close your eyes if you want. Just focus on the process. Helps to sit up straight if you're not already sitting up straight. Kind of find your rhythm. You can go a little faster if it feels right. You can go a little slower if it feels right. About 10 more. 3 more. In, out, in, out. Holding your breath on the exhale. Hold. This is the time to be mindful and just focus on the present moment. When you're ready, take a deep breath in. Hold that for 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, when you're done with that, do one more. Any questions before we do the last round? This next time, push yourself a little bit more. Breath as long as you safely can. Let's go. Pulling in as much air in as possible. 75% out. You start to feel tingly in your extremities, a little lightheaded, that's normal. Just go with that, accept it, feel it. About 10 more. Getting ready to hold the breath. A couple more. I'll let you decide when to exhale and then hold the breath. Sometime in the next few breaths. Okay, you should be holding your breath at this point. Focusing on the moment, focusing on whatever feels right. Something kind of powerful, thing that will help you feel powerful, because that's what this does. Know that you can do this, and you can hold your breath longer than you think. that air, take a deep breath in, hold that for 10 to 15 seconds. You're still going, do your thing, and still go. Hold the breath, you're still going, or take a deep breath. I'm going to continue up here. Time flies. So I'm going to tap into a little shift to a little bit different than the cold and the breathing. Well, before I do that, just take a moment, 10-20 seconds to just identify how you feel. Can be kind of an intricate process, and maybe you don't quite have it down. That's great, and that's fine too, but if it worked, you feel kind of different. You might feel more clear-minded, just higher mood than before you started breathing. That's my hope. Yeah, question? Comment?
I've done Kundalini yoga, and they call breath of fire.
Yes.
Similar, but it's very, very quick. You know, is there any relationship, you know?
Yes. From my research and understanding, Wim Hof kind of created his own version of existing breathing techniques like that. Yep, so I've heard of that one. There are a lot of variations of this type of breath work. This guy, well, the guy I pointed to at the same pond punch, he was telling me about there are other methods where you are holding your breath on the inhale, and there are different purposes for that. So that's for a whole nother time, or your own research. Okay, so I wanted to get into a little bit of this. I talked about powerful, kind of leading up to power. What this method and this journey for myself has done is allowed me to be powerful and feel powerful and do powerful things in my life. You know, that's a pretty subjective word, but for me, I'm going to label it powerful today. And have this picture of the brain. We're going to get into a little bit of the RAS. Has anyone heard of the reticular activating system in our brain? Okay, it's fascinating, super cool science. And again, I'm not the science guy, but I want it for those that are science gals and girls in the audience. I wanted to bring this up because I think that there is some correlation here with the Wim Hof method and just my journey and my process and how I got to where I am. Super long story short, I have a background in social work. I got a master's in social work just to realize that I don't want that or need that because it's just, that's a long story, but part of this process for me has been a big career change, faith change, lots of changes, and I'm okay. I know that I'm going to be okay because I think in a lot of ways because of this. So in some of my research preparing for this, someone titled it The Gatekeeper to Consciousness. The RAS, it's a bundle of nerves at our brainstem that filters out unnecessary information so the important stuff gets through. So on that note, I think it does two things. It helps keep us safe, and it helps us know not to cross the road when a car's coming, or put our hand on the stove because it's hot, because we learned. It's helping us stay safe. But as we're all adults here, I think in a lot of ways, looking back on those things in our life, I think it also keeps us caged in, and it prevents us from being powerful and being who we potentially truly need to be. So I won't speak too much to the we and to the you, and I'll put it back on me in that because I'm aware of how my brain works in this RAS situation, of how my RAS is working, I've decided to stay safe in a lot of ways, and too safe, and not being me and who I am, and perhaps who I always was, / who I'm supposed to be. And getting in cold water, holding my breath for a long time, doing events like I do and being a little bit of an entrepreneur, because I'm tapping into this RAS to my benefit now, knowing that I can be safe, but also be powerful and do difficult things and venture out into new things in life. You know, we look back on some of our greatest artists and inventors and the Leonardos and the Da Vinci's and the strong leaders of armies and whatnot. Like they were doing some hard shit, right? Like they didn't let their RAS hold them back. They had to do it. They needed to do it for humanity and for themselves and for the world or for some greater spiritual reason. I don't know. So I think kind of tying some of that into the scientific part, it's allowed me to be grounded and be okay in something as difficult as a faith crisis, but also know that I'm meant to do amazing things in my life. So if we gotta wrap it up. If you want to learn more, you can talk to me after. I'm on Instagram, Utah Cold Connection on Facebook. My website's pretty lame and growing and under construction, but that's that. So any last, maybe one question? Last, again, any just burning desires? Hey.
When you first started doing cold showers, I had experience when I was in another country that I could only take cold showers. And my experience, I didn't have a choice. So I don't know if you do the same thing, but when I'm doing a cold shower, I do a cold shower dance. Do you have to dance like to keep your blood flowing? I think scream if you're doing a cold shower dance.
I have never done a cold shower dance. I love that you do. But I think the breathing, bringing the breathing back, helps prepare your mind and your body for such a task. And so now with that involved, I will default back to the breathing that you may not have to dance as much and potentially fall over with the slippery ground. I love that, and I love hearing stories about that. But yeah, it's a new level of exploration when you choose to do it.
And then pinned on top of that, would you say that the positive benefit you get from going into cold water is something that you feel immediately while you're in it, or kind of like once you're out, like, wow, I really appreciate the difference of being in cold and now I'm back to it?
Yeah, great question. For me now, the benefit is before, during, and after. At the beginning, it was just after. It's kind of like going to the gym or a run, or like I know I need to do it, and I'm going to cling on to that feeling that I know I get afterwards. I would say it's a similar thing, and that some can relate to going to the gym, going on a hike, getting out with friends, whatever maybe gets you out of your comfort zone, but you know that you probably should do it. I think eventually, for me, for it to have full purpose, there's meaning in it before, during, and after. That's my great questions. Talk to me after if you want. Have more questions.
Yeah, sorry, for the sake of the kids, we have to wrap up. Just as our kids leaders, they'll quit on us. Let's give it up for Colby though.